So good morning. It is now, what time is it? 7:20. It's a little later than usually. I'm rubbing the sleep from my eyes. Uh, I'm ready for this. I actually am. I named the seven natural laws of the universe yesterday, which were the law of perpetual transmutation, the law of relativity, the law of vibration and attraction, the law of polarity, the law of rhythm, the law of cause and effect, and the law of gender. I'll be repeating these a lot because through repetition, you start to internalize it till it becomes second nature and you just know these things. But today I want to focus mainly on the first law, the law of perpetual transmutation. A couple principles before we get there. Um, I want you to imagine a little stick man, little figure. So you got a big round head, and beneath you actually have a smaller body, little limbs sticking out. And the reason the head is bigger than the body, because the head's what's in control. The head is what does everything. That's where all the process is. The body is just an extension of the head that interprets or manifests what the head wants. So the head has more importance, hence it is bigger. But that head is actually divided upper and lower half. So imagine those blue one right here. It's symbolic, of course. We're not really split that way. Um, the upper half is your conscious thoughts, and your lower half is your subconscious thoughts. So the upper half is where you actually think, you process, your reason, and the lower half is where it sinks. Now, apparently, the lower half doesn't know the difference between um, what is real and what isn't. It just knows what the upper half sends it. So if your upper half um, believes something strongly enough, the lower half will accept it, um, even if the upper half is thinking something that hasn't. Um, Kind of weird, but we'll get to that. But essentially, this is how to affect your subconscious thought, and which essentially is where your paradigms reside in that lower half. So, if you can if your upper half is convincing enough, your lower half will accept it, and that's what will manifest through the body and become a reality. I know, mind blowing. But let's talk about the law of perpetual transmutation now that we understand this little diagram here. The idea behind the law of perpetual transmutation is that, first of all, everything, everything consists of some form of energy. All right. If you want to break it down from a scientific level, I mean, you can go to the atomic structure or even subatomic, and I don't know, quarks and gluons and neutrons and that. I'm not a scientist, but the point is, it's really all the same stuff, and it's everywhere in the universe. And the way it's organized is what starts to differentiate different shapes and things and objects. But even our thoughts, we've measured these. You've got these alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and theta waves of your brain. Um, it's all there. It's all energy. So everything is made of this energy, which is a constant vibration. Everything moves. Even though you're looking at a solid object in front of you right now, if you moved into the atomic level, you would see the little electrons spinning around um, the protons and neutrons. Everything is in motion, and everything has a vibration, some kind of harmonic. Okay, um, so everything's in motion. It's everything. It's the only thing that is constant. All right. Change as energy's only attribute that is apparent to our material senses. Energy is in a constant state of transmission and transmutation. It is the cause and effect of itself and can neither be created nor destroyed. All right. So energy can also neither be created nor destroyed, and we actually know this. Everything is a transformation. When something is destroyed in the physical world, um, it's not actually destroyed. It's just broken down into its different components. It is reshaped. It is transmuted. Um, so think when wood burns, what's left is ash, and we've released gases, but it's just these things have transformed into different states. When a human body dies, well, it decays, um, but those atoms um, still remain. They've just changed into something else. Um, so basically the idea of transmutation. Now, how this applies to us is because everything is changing constantly, we can affect the change. Because if everything comes from energy, including our thoughts, if we can focus those thoughts, then we can transform that energy into being, into action. And I gotta admit, at first I thought this sounded kind of far fetched. I'm like, it's not like I can think, hey, a brand new car, and there it appears. We are not, um, we're not Q from Star Trek. I can't just boom, and there it is. Apologies for the geek pop culture reference. You'll see I do these a lot. It's kind of how I can relate to certain things. However, when you focus your thoughts enough, you will actually put your thoughts into action, and your action will manifest into results. Now, apparently, there are studies that these monks who can really, really meditate strongly, like focus their attention on something, are actually able to um, affect the physical world that way. Um, so who knows, all this quantum mechanics and stuff. But I think the average person um, does not have that power of concentration, and it can take a whole lifetime just to affect the shape of a snowflake that way. So I'm a little less concerned with parlor tricks about reshaping physical nature, and more concerned about um, manifesting my thoughts into a subconscious to drive me towards certain things. Um, I think I can reshape this energy to motivate and drive me to accomplish goals like being millionaire by 50. Yay! Um, in essence, this is the philosophy behind prayer as well. I am not a religious person, um, but this is the idea that if you focus enough on something, it will manifest itself because your thoughts are taking shape. I think the difference between that and prayer, though, is most people deal with prayer as a wish list. They want something, but they don't focus on manifesting it. They just say, please, 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 which is a very passive approach. And I think that's why it doesn't work for most people. They miss the whole point of prayer. They see it as just beg some old guy sitting in the sky to do something for you. Where I think the law of perpetual transmutation is a little more um, non-sentient in that traditional way. I don't think there's a little old guy in the sky listening and going, I don't know, maybe, that guy asked nicely. Um, and I think it's more of um, focusing your thought into something cohesive and transformative that will then result in what it is you wish for. So that is the law of perpetual transmutation. Did that make sense to any of you guys? Let me see if I can work it out again. So basically, energy is everywhere. Here I am, this little stick figure with the big round head and the little body and the four limbs, and my head is split into two levels. So this energy is everywhere. And it's constantly in motion, it's constantly changing, moving, transforming. Um, and I can harness my thoughts, that's the upper half of that head, and focus that energy into a cohesive idea, which will then land itself into my subconscious, where my emotions are, where my paradigms are. And this thought will be powerful enough to transform this paradigm, essentially new programming, if you will. And this new programming, which draws from all this energy out there anyways, will cause the body to go into action and alter the reality around me, make me create what it is I want to manifest. I think you can push this to an extreme idea where it sounds ridiculous, or you can take it for what it represents as a sense of self-empowerment and accomplishment. Now, there have been instances in my life um, where that has happened. Um, I think I mentioned already the incident about my wife and I needing a new place to live because the old neighborhood we were in was quite horrible, and we were so determined to get out of there, and we made a very, very conscious decision to say, no, we will not accept this anymore. We will not accept anything less than such and such a thing. And this drove us to actively pursue. And now at the same time, turns out where we are was available. And we like where we are. Um, so, do you want to call it coincidence, or do you want to call it these things matching up because we're vibrating at a certain level and this opportunity matched the same level? So we found each other. Um, we changed our environment to seek out this environment. There's a lot of ways to look at this, but nonetheless, bottom line is we changed our mindset, we changed our goals, and it resulted in something. I can't think of anything better than that. It was life changing for us. When we were, here's another example. When we were, when we decided we wanted to have a child, we'd been together quite a while. We felt it was important to live life as a couple before we live life as a parent. I think sometimes people rush into that a little bit and they never really have the couples thing. Um, but we had many, many years together as a couple before we actively decided to have children. And when it was time to start conceiving, we actively practiced um, visualizing what we wanted. And it will sound weird, you want a baby, yes, but we focused on a healthy child because there's so many things going on right now. Um, we focused on all the great things that this child could be. And I know every parent feels this way, but I gotta say, my daughter is amazing, and she is that fulfillment of all these intentions uh, that we put in there. We took this thought, we plucked it, we made it into a reality, into our conception, and lo and behold, it did not take long at all before we conceived. I mean, I know some parents who try for years and it never happens, and us, it was just like, bam, there you go, we're pregnant. And we have this perfect little daughter, you know. This is the power of perpetual transmutation. We transform thought into reality. Now, I know some people might think, well, that's just coincidence, that's just wishful thinking, that's drawing conclusions when there's no real parallel. Um, you know what? Think what you will. I actually believe that I can alter my reality with my thoughts. Again, not in the fantastical science fiction sense, but that if I put enough intention into something, my subconscious will cause it to manifest. Um, lucky coincidences will find me. Are they really lucky, or am I just attracting them? If you judge, I don't really care. From my career standpoint, back after the 2008 recession, um, my field of work was suffering greatly. I was pretty much a corporate magician, and corporations just stopped spending. And I was reluctant to change. I did not want to go into a birthday party market because it didn't pay nearly as much per gig, and I thought it was a step backwards, and I was very resistant to change. And my wife was very patient with me, but she nudged me a few times to reconsider. And then all of a sudden, I saw the value in what she said, and I really had a flip of the switch change. I mean, it was drastic. It was like dark and out the light. I saw the potential of what she spoke, and really, really embraced it. Uh, to the point where I didn't just say, all right, I'm going to start doing kids' parties again, but I created this whole new brand, new company, and expanded on services and so forth. And I went from just being a solo operation to having, um, a large staff with me and offering a multitude of services I can't even perform myself. But the company is thriving. Um, and every year just saw growth and expansion and growth and increased income. And it's fantastic. And this really comes from the fact that I changed the way I saw things. So there was a transmutation in my thought process, which affected my subconscious and manifested itself to creating something new. I got excited about it rather than down about it. I embraced it and I made the change. And um, our lives really changed for the better. That's the power of thought. And that's how I'm interpreting the law of perpetual transmutation. It's how the creative process comes to mind and manifests itself. I'm sure if you talk to actual um, artists like painters, sculptors, things like that, this is what they do all the time. They have a thought and they make it concrete, and the body just follows through until they wind up with whatever creation they have. It manifests itself physically from this pure thought. That's the change. Well, this that's a very direct, concrete, physical example, short term, but this can apply to pretty much anything in your life, I believe. So right now, I'm setting my thoughts to becoming a millionaire by 50, and I will be a millionaire by 50. And somehow, my subconscious can work with what I have now to create something bigger, and it'll manifest itself. Simple as that. Now, for today's gratitude, I'm grateful I got the computer working. Despite it being cloudy, I am grateful for what will likely be another beautiful day. I'm grateful it's a little cooler today. It's been very hot these last few days. Um, I'm grateful for my family. My wife and daughter mean the world to me, especially right now in this time of isolation. Um, I'm glad I have people to share an environment with, people that I love and I enjoy being around. I'm sure there's some people out there that are going stir crazy and they need to get away for a while, but I really love being with them. And I count myself very lucky to have those kinds of people in my life. I'm also grateful that I'm learning new things. Um, Again, if you want to learn stuff, this is a short list for now, but I'm sure throughout the exercise of this vlog, I'll be naming a lot of books. But Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, The Science of Getting Rich by Waddles, um, uh, Rule 1 by Phil Town, or 3 books I do recommend right now. There's also Money Master the Game by, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Big motivational speaker guy, Tony something. It'll come to me. You know what I mean. Anyways, that's it for today. Thank you, Mr.